I am excited to have with me today Kristy Barber from Kristy Barber Consulting. She takes care of financial services. She was a CFO of a manufacturing plant, made small airplane engines, which is kind of cool. And now she helps her talents is to help business owners streamline their financial books and keeping and all that. So, welcome to the Redeeming Business Today podcast, Kristy. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Um, so one of the things I like to start off with asking our guests is, what is one way you believe that we can honor God in our business that other people may not have seen or known about?
I think there's a couple things. One that always comes to me is just the integrity of who we are and our values and what God has told us in the Bible of these are the things that we follow. And when you get outside of that, sometimes in the world, things can get a little shady and people want to do things different ways that aren't necessarily in alignment with the morals and values that we've been taught. And I,
Sure.
I see that a lot in business. And when you look at things from Christian perspective and having all of that, I myself, I know, make decisions very differently than other people. And especially with clients, if I know, hey, it's going to be X dollars to do something, I'm going to charge it at this, where you may get another company and they're looking because the dollar is their God and they need to hit a certain number. They may charge things differently, or I don't know, maybe not give as much value for the dollar. But I've seen a lot of that.
Okay. No, that's good. Thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that. So you are doing accounting work right now. Take a few minutes to share your journey, where you started, and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah. So I started out in accounting. I always give the story. My grandpa told me, go to school, learn numbers, because once you know numbers, you're worth gold. Because a lot of people can't read financial statements and they don't necessarily understand how to understand the numbers in a business. And he told me, if you could do that, you'll always have a job. And so that's what I did. And I worked a handful of different companies, ended up at a manufacturing plant that made airplane engines for small planes. And I started out there just doing the accounting work, moved into a whole bunch of different things because it was small, and got to see
Yeah.
pretty much how a whole manufacturing plant worked from start to finish. And I loved that. I love manufacturing, how things work. You start with a piece of metal and you end up with something that ships out a door and helps somebody with an end product. And then soon after that, I went out on my own because I realized, hey, I really would like to work for myself. I've always had that goal since I was young. So yeah, I did that. Started out just doing a lot of bookkeeping, accounting services, and then have moved more so over the last probably 7, 8 years into more fractional work, but then also looking at accounting departments, how to streamline them. We're looking at, do you have the right software that's running in your accounting? And then do you have the right processes in place of, hey, I need to look at my AR, do we have a process, or is it just, hey, when money comes in, the money comes in, and then we want to make sure that things like that are getting taken care of. So I love the inner workings of just how the accounting department works and how it is in everything in a business, whether you want to see that or not. Some people are like, no, they're just those people over there. But yeah.
Very good. So, you mentioned fractional accounting. What is fractional accounting?
Fractional accounting would be a lot of smaller companies. They may not necessarily need somebody full time, or they may not yet be in a place where they can afford a CFO full time. And my services just come, hey, do you need me 10 hours a week? You need me 10 hours a month? You need me, so whatever that works for each client specifically. And that's how you get to the fractional part of it. Is no, I don't have anybody that's 40 hours a week. It's all over the place, from as little sometimes as 2 to 3 hours a week.
Okay, so fractional just means that you're splitting your time up between all these different companies. Okay. I never knew what that meant. So
Yeah.
that's helpful. Yeah. Very good. I sometimes feel like I'm a fractional parent, because I have so many kids and trying to give my time to them.
Yeah.
But um, so what types of services do you love to do right now? I know you mentioned a few different ones.
Yeah. So right now, I love to help people get all of their accounting organized. So the first part is looking at the processes of how the accounting department works, AR, AP, if you have intercompany transactions, making sure that processes are in place, everybody knows what they're doing. Because the worst part is somebody may leave or somebody goes out on a long vacation, and you have to learn what that person was doing. Making so when you have those in place, it really helps streamline everything and making sure that you're not leaving things kind of sitting somewhere. So that's the main thing. And then looking at things from a budgeting forecasting perspective. Where are you today? Where do you want to be? How can we help put a plan together by reading through the financial statements, making sure that everybody's up to speed on what they're saying, and then just kind of a little bit of everything in between. Do you have the right accounting system? Are you on QuickBooks? Have you outgrown it? Is your company moving to an ERP solution and you need some guidance around that? I've done a lot of ERP implementation selections over the last probably 6, 7 years. So just very familiar with that world too and how important it is.
Okay. I suppose ERPs are like everything else. There's probably not just two or three. There's probably 50 of them out there.
Oh, there's tons. And depending on what you do and which industry specifically, there's one just for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's like shoes. One size doesn't fit all, but there's some out there that will fit you as a business then.
Yep.
Well, that's nice having you being able to have some knowledge on that to help guide and direct that way.
Yeah.
I know some clients of mine who and other people, they don't really know where they are financially throughout the year. They kind of wait to the end of the year, then they
Hmm.
look at all the books and then they go, oh, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
How do you solve that for them? Like it'd be nice to know on a week by week or at least a monthly basis, where am I at financially? Am I selling what I'm need to sell and are my expenses under control? How do you work that?
It depends. At the least, I review with my clients every month. Some of them we're reviewing on a weekly basis just because of what they do and they have specific goals they need to reach on a weekly or even bi-monthly basis. And that way I'm pulling reports for them with their financials. Usually it's just the profit and loss statement, and then maybe we have some other little reports that we've made along the way of just looking at, sales forecasting. Is it matching what their team had put together, and are we hitting those numbers from an accounting perspective? And so reviewing that, and then the good part about meeting more often and reviewing these is you can pivot and tweak things along the way, where if you wait until the end of the year, it's one of those oh no moments. I wish I had known before XYZ, I could have fixed this or whatnot. And I think a big thing is CPAs, the tax advisors, always at the end of the year they're telling you, well, if you buy some new equipment, we can write this off. And you're like, that's great, but I need to know more of what my numbers are telling me on a regular basis.
Is that time consuming to get those reports, or is that something that the owners could get fairly quickly, like in 10, 15 minutes a month?
It depends. Most of my clients, I do all their accounting as well. And so I have a team that helps keep up with their monthly bookkeeping. And when we're actually doing it, we can pull the reports, 10, 15 minutes. If the company that's hiring, maybe they're just doing fractional CFO work with me, a lot of times I have them give me access to their accounting software so then I can pull the reports and be looking at everything versus kind of waiting on somebody to get a report to me, because that's always hard when everybody's got so many irons in the fire and you get that call, hey, where's that report? And they're like, oh yeah, I promise I'll get it to you, and then it's a week later
And they don't.
and they don't. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm sure you've seen everything across the board, really good to really bad. What are some common mistakes that business owners make that you have seen?
Biggest is a mixing of personal and business, and it's one
Really?
of my pet peeves, and I understand it's all about the credit card points, I really do, but some people, they keep their personal credit card because they want points on that one, and then they have a different card for the business, and they're not utilizing it as much, and then there's
Mm,
all these weird transactions going back and forth because you're reimbursing your personal card for a larger purchase because you wanted the points. And so that's one of the things of you need to keep business business, you need to keep personal personal. Um, Another thing is how many don't take a distribution or a paycheck. They're pouring
Mm.
all of the money back into the business, which makes sense. But then it gets to a point where the business is making money, and you need to make sure that you're paying yourself a fair wage for all the hard work you as the founder have put into it. And coming up with what does that number look like, and meeting with your CPA for tax reasons around it as well. And then I think lastly is not reviewing expenses. And I think today it's so easy because we have so many applications, $5 here, $10 here, and you forget that you have them, or you forget that you bought another software that was $30 a month and it takes care of all of these little ones
Oh,
on the side that you could retire and not have to pay for anymore. And so that's a big thing that I do on a quarterly basis with my clients is let's go through and look at all of our expenses, and are we paying double for something that we don't need anymore?
yeah, you're talking like maybe subscriptions that once a year you get charged or once a month you get charged.
Mhm.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I have a budget at home, and I've just started making a list of when I have a yearly subscription, I'll put it in there, say what it is, the date it renews, and how much it is, just to
Mhm.
keep track of what's out there. And it's handy to have.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, because it's easy to forget about little little dollar amounts if you're not looking for it.
Yep, very good. And so that's good. Going back to the credit card, is
Mhm.
it can they use the company credit card and then just if they get points on the company credit card, is that legal to use personally? Or what happens to that stuff?
So normally it's a business decision when it's points that are used for business things, or a lot of times if you have whatever you've written in your employee agreements to say if it's like if we worked for the same company and I have a card and you have a card and we're both accruing points for ourselves, it can depend if the company is like, hey, you know what, that's okay. You want to take these points and use it for some personal travel, go ahead and do it. But a lot of times it just comes down to what the company decided they want to allow to do. Because I know one company they allow that to happen, and then others they're so small it's just the owner that has the card, and he goes and he pays for his whole family to go on vacation each year because of the points that it earns for him, which is it's a really cool thing to do to be able to balance that as well.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause so essentially it's not a a tax consequence, it's more what the company determines on its own.
Mhm.
Right, that makes sense. That
But
makes
always
sense.
consult your CPA just in case a tax rule has changed. That's what I always say.
Good idea. Good.
Yeah.
So you are taking care of the finances, but you're not taking care of the tax per se.
No
That's a
taxes. No,
different
I work very closely with whomever their tax advisor is and making sure everything is prepped and ready for it to go at the end of each year.
very good. And so anybody who's working with you or maybe on their own, do you have any tips or tricks that they can use to help remember to do the books on time and
I always put reminders in. I always say the day that the month closes, you should have your accounting closed out within 7 days. Less if you're a smaller company, sometimes a tiny bit longer if it's a larger company. At a company last year they worked with, they did about 500 million a year in sales, and it took them 10 days to close out, which they have a lot of moving parts where you look at a smaller company and it's maybe doing 100,000 or less a year, or not even that, sorry, 250,000 or less a year, and you can close out in probably 15 minutes after the month end. So it's making sure that you put maybe some reminders in your calendar if you don't have somebody doing this for you, just so you're staying up to speed and it's not at the end of the year and you're reviewing everything at the same time. And then you have questions like, what was this expense for again? What did I do? And yeah.
yes, that makes sense to keep up on it a little at a time versus all at the end of the year. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Very good. So what has been do you have a memorable client that something was interesting or great happened that you're able to help them with?
There's a couple of them that have stood out. One was about 4 years ago, just a really cool small company, did about 4 million a year, and they were growing in average growth. and I came in to help them find a new software to run the entire company, and specifically around with accounting as well for their distribution company. And it was really cool because during the middle of us getting everything set up, the company just exploded, and they were doing in a month what they did in an entire year. And that
Wow.
was just fun to see everybody's dream about the company really come to fruition of what they've put so much hard work into being, and being a part of that and helping, even making sure, like when we're going through the chart of accounts, are these set up properly, do we want to change anything because we're going to a new system, we have the ability to do that, what do we really need to see reporting wise to make better decisions versus from the software we were using before. And so we did a lot of just evaluating what do we want our future reports to look like, and they're doing awesome now. It's really neat to watch their story.
Cool. Very
Yeah.
neat.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
even I would say the little businesses that are just in that startup phase, how many of them, and I'm sure you've seen this as well, so many business owners, they have that dream and they're excited and they know so much about what they're gonna sell, but not necessarily about the number component of it, and so being able to partner alongside with them and help them do something that a lot of them hate the numbers, and I understand. I think I'm the rare one that's like, "This is fun." But being able to put all the numbers together and help them with
Sure.
that, and they're out here selling their product or service, and so that's really cool.
I know what you're saying. I'm an engineer. I love numbers. I love the analytics, and I probably could have been an accountant. I just didn't go down
Yeah,
that route. But I know there's a lot of people who don't like the details,
nope.
and
I have
but
a
that's
client
fine.
like that too, and he's funny. He's like, "Oh, yeah, I gotta get you some number things for this one thing," and it's like, "Yeah, you do. We need to put this together." He's like, "Yeah." He hates it, but then every month he enjoys seeing what his business is doing.
Yes, it's the essential thing that you need to do to
Mhm.
capture the snapshot of how your business is. Very good.
Yeah.
So one of the things I like to ask my guests is, God and the blessing of God and your relationship with God changes the aspect in how you do business. How has being a Christian influenced the way you do business?
I think there's two things to this story personally for me. Is one is God has given me very unique gifts and talents around accounting, and for so many years I didn't want them. I wanted
Hmm.
to do, whatever was over here because everybody else was doing this, or to me that seemed fun. And finally it took the Lord kind of beating me down on it a little bit of, I've given you
Hmm.
these blessings and these talents, and I want you to utilize them for my kingdom and make a kingdom business out of it, and how you can help so many people with what I've given you. And finally, when I was able to surrender that over to Him, that made what I do so much more enjoyable instead of fighting this gift that I was given.
Very neat. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
So, and
And
I'm
so
sure you've seen that, and probably a lot of people have experienced certain things around it.
there's some people I've talked to that yes, they've been fighting with God for a while, or they used God until they got ahead, and then they kind of put God on the shelf, and then things
Yep.
went south, and then later on they just like went all in, and God's blessing upon them. So it's been neat to see. Yes.
Yeah.
Uh, so what's next for you? You have anything looking forward to this next year?
Next year, I'm looking forward to just continually expanding the business, getting a better footprint out there. I just started working with a marketing team this week to kind of rebrand my marketing and how I show up out there. Unlike other people, I'm really good with numbers, and I'm good at the heads down part of it. And I need to rely on people that know how to do all the marketing components of it. And just finding somebody that was able to align with where I want to go and can see that vision for me. So I'm really excited about that.
Okay. Well, I know of a few people. I've talked to some people. We can talk after this is over. So
Yeah,
listen to my podcast. It's there.
it's there.
Uh, it's there. Yeah. So how can my audience find out more about you if they want to work with you or learn more about your journey? How can we find
Yeah,
out
so
more about
you can
you?
go on my website, KristyBarber.com, and you can see me. I'm on YouTube. There's tons of videos out there where I'm talking about anything and everything accounting, and it's a great way. I have a book. You can find it on Amazon that kind of just talks about what to look for when you're starting up your business. So the processes that go into the accounting and making sure things are set up correctly. So yeah,
Okay,
I mean all
very
the
good.
social channels.
Okay, very good. So very good. And one last thing, we've talked a lot about accounting, a lot of different nuances in that. So in your accounting world, what I guess basically what one thing do you want us to take away from this meeting? What, as we journey down the path of seeking God's kingdom with our finances in our business, what's one thing we should be thinking about?
One thing that really stood out to me was a couple years ago, I went to a Christian business conference, and the guy told me every morning when he got to work, he prayed over his desk and the work that would come from the desk and the work that would come into the desk. And I've tried to be diligent in doing that. Some days, yes, some days not so much, but I think it's a good way every morning to be able to give the gift, because God has given me my business. He's given me the skills to do it, and being able to, present that to him of whatever you want to do with this today with open hands, I'll receive it in. And that's just been a really good reminder of this is not mine, and I don't want to selfishly think that the um all of the good that has come from it is a result of me. It's a result of him.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Because you're like you said, it's a daily reminder that God is in control.
Mhm.
Everything's from Him, and good or bad, it's from Him.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, great. Well, Kristy, thank you for spending a few moments of your precious time with us today. We greatly appreciate it and all the knowledge you've given to us. And as you go about your day, remember that time has limits. You can't do everything. Choose wisely.